concept of rights, as embraced by our founding fathers, is truly revolutionary. As we read the Bill of Rights, consider the way they wrote these words. Congress shall make no law. The right of the people to be secure in their persons shall not be violated. These are restrictions on government, not a list of the rights of the people. Rights do not come from government, a king, a constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, or any piece of paper. We are endowed by our Creator with unalienable rights, and these include life, liberty, property, the pursuit of happiness, and many others. And as long as you do not violate others' rights, you may live your life as you see fit without interference from government. The power of the state is subservient to the rights of the individual. This is the key that made this country different. It's what makes these United States of America special. So without further ado, let's read the Bill of Rights together, beginning with the little-known preamble. If anyone needs a Bill of Rights, they're right over here on this blue table. Preamble. Congress of the United States, begun and held at the city of New York, Wednesday, 4th March, 1789. Conventions of a number of states, having at the time of their adopting the Constitution, expressed a desire in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers, that further regulatory or restrictive clauses should be added, as extending the ground of public confidence in government, will best ensure the beneficial ends of this institution. Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled, 2/3 of both houses concurring, that the following articles be proposed to the legislatures of several states as amendments to the Constitution of the United States, all or any of those articles when ratified by the three quarters of the legislatures to be valid to all intents and purposes prescribed in the Constitution. Articles in addition to an amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America proposed and ratified by the legislatures of several states pursuant to the 5th article of the original Constitution.
Amendment 1.
Congress shall make no laws respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging freedom of speech or of press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances.
Amendment 2.
Well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Amendment 3.
No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Amendment 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly the time and place to be searched, and the persons or things to be seized.
Amendment 5.
No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise frivolous crime, unless on presentation or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in land or naval forces or militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for civil offense to be liable by life or limb. Nor shall he be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, or to be tried in right liberty or property without due process of law. Nor shall private property be taken in public use without just compensation.
been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have a compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense.
Amendment 7.
In suits at common law, the value of the controversy shall exceed $20. The right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of common law.
Amendment 8.
Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted.
Amendment 9.
The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people.
Amendment 10.
The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. Hear, hear.
Hear, hear. Our first speaker is a doctor of medicine, a world traveler, and treasurer of the Jefferson Area Libertarians. Please welcome Dr. Hallee Morgan.
Seeing that we have this event every single year, it is a very interesting time to sort of think about the importance of the Bill of Rights, and also to think about what it means in terms of our contemporary society. As I was preparing for this and thinking about it, it brought back a lot of problems. Why was it debated by our forefathers? It seems like something that's just so important and so basic that one would think that there wouldn't be able to be a debate about it, but there's a lot of debate. After all, the Bill of Rights wasn't added until 2 years after the Constitution was ratified. The Bill of Rights, after all, is only 10 amendments. That means additions to the Constitution of the United States. Now, the thing that they were most afraid of then was the power of the federal government. And if you ask me, rightfully so. It's one of the biggest problems I think that we have right at the moment. The Fed ignored the Bill of Rights consistently, as do lawmakers, as do the judges. I think they have way too much power. They have a great deal more than was certainly intended, I think, by our forefathers. And one of the ways I think that they tend to abuse their power is by coercing states into agreeing with what the feds want them to agree to. A few examples of those: speed limits, school standards, health care, and regulations of all kinds. They use those as weapons. Then the other thing I think is quite interesting is the idea of the Ninth Amendment. That is the thing that gives the power and rights to the individual. What a glorious idea. But again, there was a lot of debate about that at the time as to whether it was necessary. One would think that the laws of nature would be things that people would understand. But thank goodness they did add that. Because even if they are so rounded and ignored, it's really embarrassing. These are the rights that are made by human beings that are binding on human beings. Existentialists would say that the natural laws are the right to exist. And then, of course, there was Emerson, who said it was just the right to be left alone, which I can really sympathize with. Let's enumerate a couple of the rights that are considered under natural laws. You have the right to be free. You have the right to be free from coercion, to be free from servitude, to the right to think, the right to create, the right to love, the right to defend yourself and defend any other members of your family, any of your loved ones or friends for that matter. And also it says that no man should have dominion over any other person without that person's consent. After all, we're talking about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I'm really frightened by the future of the United States at the moment, mainly because we're getting so far away from the Constitution of the United States. The President, lawmakers, and judges are just roundly ignoring it, and I think that's something that's very frightening.
Thank you, Dr. Morgan. I'd like to talk a little bit about man's relationship with man. We said earlier that America is different, America is special. And after thousands of years of human history, our enlightened founders believed that in relationships among men, the individual is sovereign. And as long as one didn't violate others' right to life, liberty, and property, one would be free to live one's life as one sees fit. So our founders were interested in this. Now, I can see some people are going, oh my gosh, she's saying that the individual is sovereign, God is sovereign. But what I'm talking about here is the relationship between man and man. So in that sphere or that realm, the individual is sovereign. And Jefferson said that government derives its just powers from the consent of the governed, and its purpose is to secure the rights and liberty of the individual. They wanted a government to work for them, to take care of certain things, specifically safeguarding life, liberty, and property, and stay out of everything else. So these people formed a government to take care of those things. And then in turn, these governments created another government. Because they decided there were certain things like national defense that could be done better working together. And so they formed the federal government to take care of specific enumerated functions like national defense. But the purpose of the government was still exclusively to safeguard life, liberty, and property and stay out of everything else. Now, what has happened in the course of 150 years is the whole thing has been turned on its head. And now, the servant has become the master. We have a national government that lords over the states and also lords directly over the individual, forcing us to do its bidding. The federal government has slowly and steadily over the years become involved in education, banking, finance, retirement savings, crime control, transportation, health care, the list goes on and on and on. In fact, it is difficult to name one aspect of our lives the tentacles of the national bureaucracy do not reach. And because, as George Washington said, government is force, most of that intervention has resulted in making things worse and or creating new unforeseen negative side effects. The examples of this are vast, and the most glaring example right now is the train wreck known as Obamacare. The 10th Amendment was ratified so that the federal government would not have such power. Sadly, it has been, in effect, scratched out. And this year we found out the IRS was targeting and punishing conservative groups for their political beliefs, and we learned that the NSA is spying on the American people. We have what the framers warned us could happen. So, what to do. Where do we go from here? Well, first, we're doing it right here, right now. It is very important that we are here today, gathering, reading the Bill of Rights, speaking out about these things. A wise man said that the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. And this past year, you could call a banner year for chopping down the Bill of Rights. So it's important we are here and saying things such as, if the NSA cannot exist without spying on the American people, then it is a threat to liberty and it must be abolished. Second, we need to draw clear distinctions. The battle is not Democrat versus Republican. This is a battle between liberty and tyranny. Libertarian versus authoritarian. Freedom versus regulation. Initiative versus apathy. Vigor versus stagnation. Confidence versus jealousy. Prosperity versus bankruptcy. Independence versus dependence. Rights versus entitlement. Charity versus confiscation and redistribution. Humility versus arrogance. Global cooling versus hot air. National defense versus continuous war and empire. Facts versus emotion. Principles versus inconsistency. And self-determination versus serfdom. Third, we must turn this back around to the way the framers arranged it. Where these people work for us. We must make the master the servant again. We must dismantle this bureaucracy. We need to cut this thing back down to a size that follows the 10th Amendment, which by my estimation is about a 90% cut. We must spread the word of liberty far and wide and replace these people who work for us with people who truly believe in this revolutionary concept of the relationship between man and man. Thank you. I would really like to thank all of you for coming out today in this brisk weather. Thank you to all of our speakers, and I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Thank you.